The last breath of winter still clung to the north when Eddard Stark first noticed Bran's distant gaze. Spring sunlight spilled through the high windows of the solar, motes drifting over the maps Ned half studied, half ignored. Bran was perched upon the window seat, knees drawn to his chest, the boy's hazel eyes fixed on something far beyond the frosted glass. He did not blink. He scarcely breathed. Only when Ned laid a gentle hand on the child's shoulder did Bran shudder as though waking from a dream. "What did you see, little crow?" Ned asked, voice hushed so as not to startle him fully back into the world. Bran's lips moved, but words came reluctantly. "A stag lying in a bed of crimson leaves," he whispered at last. "And a lion devouring its heart." The chill that stirred Ned's spine had nothing to do with the lingering cold. Ever since Bran's fall, no, even before it, there had been moments like this. Moments when the boy spoke in riddles that felt older than the stones of Winterfell itself. Catelyn called them fever dreams. Maester Luwin muttered of swelling humors, and the restless mind of a child forced into stillness. But Ned remembered the old tales old Nan told when the hearth burned low. Tales of green seers and skinchangers who walked among memories the way other men walked garden paths. He had never put stock in such legends. Yet he could not forget the direwolf they had found dead in the snow, its antler-pierced throat foreshadowing King Robert's arrival. Nor could he forget that each Stark child had claimed a pup from that litter, as though the old gods themselves had apportioned them wardens. Even Jon's ghost-pale runt had howled beneath the blood moon, a sound hearty enough to stir dreams in the dead. Ned swept a thumb across Bran's cheek. "Rest now," he murmured, though rest was no cure for whatever dwelt behind the boy's eyes. Bran managed a brittle nod. Summer, Bran's direwolf, lifted his sable muzzle and pressed it into Ned's palm as if sharing a secret wordlessly. The contact thudded like an oath in Ned's chest. That evening, after the great hall had emptied of servants and the corridors whispered in welcome quiet, Ned carried Bran to the Godswood. The air smelled of damp earth and newborn grass. Catelyn would have worried about chill, but the warm cloak of the north clung to Ned like his own breath. They halted beneath the weirwood, its pale face weeping sap that stained scarlet tears across bark cheek hollows. Bran's small hand reached to touch it. Ned, half in warning, half in prayer, laid his hand over the boy's and felt the tree's smoothness, as cold as moonlit bone. Wind sighed through dark leaves, and, for the barest moment, Ned fancied he heard words. Not from Bran, from the heart tree itself. He lifted Bran so his eyes aligned with the tree's bloody red eyes. "Tell the old gods what troubles you," Ned whispered. "They will answer as they will." Bran's slender fingers tightened on the bark. "I see things I shouldn't," he confessed. "Things that were, and things that might be. They come when I close my eyes, even when I don't want them." "What you see does not make you wicked," Ned said. "Only wary." Bran's gaze flitted to the heart tree's carved mouth, its lips parted in silent scream. "Do you believe me? I have seen enough strange truths to know a boy's truth can outpace a maester's wisdom." Bran's shoulders eased. He pressed his brow to the bleeding bark. Ned let him be until violet dusk shaded the sky and wolves answered the coming night. 3 weeks later, the royal wheelhouse thundered through Winterfell's gates, iron-shod wheels grinding across crushed stone. King Robert Baratheon descended in a rush of laughter and sweat, slapping Ned's back as though they were still young men whooping at tourney rings. The Queen followed in gilded disdain. Cersei Lannister's green eyes swept the keep, measuring each stone as though it belonged to her coffers. Their twins trailed her. Jaime, burnished gold and careless charm, bowed with exaggerated flourish. Beside him, the sly grin of Tyrion flickered like a candle in draught. Prince Joffrey, hair shining his mother's hue, stood stiff as the statue he fancied himself to be. That evening the great hall groaned under the weight of politics disguised as feast. But Ned's mind returned again and again to Bran's foretelling. A stag lying among crimson, a lion gnawing at its heart. Robert's heraldry was the crowned stag, and crimson leaves belonged to the heart tree. The lion? Lannister. The dream's meaning felt as plain as a blade's edge, yet perilous to utter. He watched Cersei's children, hair the color of Jaime's, not the king's coal-black. Watched the way Jaime's gaze lingered on the queen with a veiled fondness too fierce for sibling affection. At dawn he sent word to Maester Lewin. Bring Bran, and bring his dream. The ravens soared south before Ned himself departed. Robert's command that he serve as hand was a chain no man could slip without losing a head, but Ned accepted only after gaining a promise. Bran would ride with him in a cushioned wagon, with Summer trotting watchful alongside. At Winterfell's parting gates, Catelyn kissed Bran's brow and whispered prayers that smelled of tears. Southward the king's road unfurled beneath spring skies. Bran's visions grew more frequent. They came like storms, sudden and relentless. Sometimes he saw mad King Aerys shrieking as wildfire devoured him. Other times, three-eyed ravens perched upon the Iron Throne. Yet one vision returned like tide. The queen and her brother, entangled in a tower room, golden limbs braided. The moment when Jaime turned, eyes wide, and hurled Bran from a height that stole his legs. When Bran spoke it aloud, Ned's knuckles whitened on the reins. Jaime's casual japes at supper, Cersei's calculated words, Tyrion's half-mocking compliments, all reeked now of conspiracy. Proof would be required, though. Proof beyond a boy's dreams. Proof enough to sway Robert, to shake the realm, to break a queen. In the darkness of the traveler's tent, Ned knelt beside Bran's cot. Firelight painted shadows across canvas walls. Summer dozed, yet a single yellow eye watched Ned. "Can you show me?" Ned asked softly. Bran frowned. "I don't know how." "Close your eyes. Picture the place where you saw them." The boy did so, lashes trembling. Ned laid two calloused fingers against Bran's temples. He thought of the old gods, of weirwoods with faces carved to hear confessions, and he prayed. Cold flooded his mind without warning, a winter stream surging beneath ice. In a rush of color, Ned glimpsed high stone walls draped in crimson tapestries. Moonlight bled through a narrow window. Two forms tangled upon a bed. Cersei's pale spine, Jaime's hands at her hips. The air tasted of sin. Ned jerked away, gasping as though plunged through ice. Bran's eyes flew open, tears silvering his lashes. "Did you see?" "I saw enough." Ned squeezed the boy's hand lest he shiver apart. At King's Landing the red walls loomed like a wound in the sky. The city's sour heat clung to them. The distant roar of crowds echoed through alleys as though the place itself breathed lawlessly. Ned's honor felt threadbare within its pestilent throngs. Court was convened 3 days after their arrival, ostensibly to welcome the hand. Robert sat the Iron Throne with weariness drawn in heavy bristles across his cheeks. Cersei lounged beside him on a lesser seat of gilded oak, face a mask of dutiful serenity, but her emerald eyes glittered. Tyrion leaned against a marbled pillar. Smirking at the proceedings like a man privy to jests none else had heard. Ned stepped forward, flanked by Sir Barristan Selmy and the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Though the last existed only in memory now, a phantom of vows Ned once cherished. Bran, born in a carved wheeled chair, was rolled to stand before the dais. His dire wolf prowled a cautious circle. Not even Lannister guards dared bar his path. Gasps rippled among courtiers to see a crippled boy presented at such solemn ceremony. Grand Maester Pycelle's beard quivered indignantly. Littlefinger's smirk curved like a sickle. Robert's brows knit. "Eddard, why bring the boy?" Ned's voice carried, honed by necessity. "Your Grace, I come bearing grave truth. My son Bran possesses, as some of the first men once did, the gift of green sight. Through dreams true as iron, he has witnessed treason most foul." Memnisau. The hush was so deep, Ned could hear the flick of banners overhead. Robert's gaze flickered to Cersei, then back. "Green sight, you speak of children's tales. Tales are seeds of trunks larger than men." Jaime laughed softly. "Next he'll claim the lad can fly." Bran spoke then, aloud and clear. "I flew before you threw me, sir." Silence slammed the hall. Cold recognition crept into Jaime's blue-green stare, a hunter seeing arrow point. Cersei's knuckles whitened on her armrest. Enough of this mockery. But Bran continued, voice ringing with hollow certainty. I saw you with her, Sir Jaime. I saw you kissing your queen, and I saw you push me from the broken tower at Winterfell. Murmurs exploded. Robert half rose. Jaime, what madness is this? Jaime's smile tightened like a tourniquet. The boy dreams. Dreams can be twisted to any end. Words alone won't suffice. Cersei interjected, silk over steel. Will the hand condemn us on a child's bedtime fancy? Ned inclined his head. No, my queen. I condemn no one. I invite the truth itself. He gestured. Hodor shuffled forward, bearing a chest of weirwood inlaid with old bronze. Within lay an ancient carved bowl. Ned set it upon a table of polished oak, beneath torchlight. The black broth of the children, Maester Luwin explained to the gathering, though none had asked. Based of weirwood sap and shade of the evening leaves. It is said to open the inner eye. Pycelle sputtered protests. Varys's spider-delicate gaze sparkled with dread curiosity. Ned faced Robert. Let the boy drink, your grace. Let the gods witness. If his visions prove false, I shall relinquish my title and return north in disgrace. But if they are true, he left the threat unvoiced. Robert's eyes darkened like storm clouds over the narrow sea. At last he nodded. Do it. Bran lifted the cup. The liquid within shimmered moon blue. He drank. Summer loosed a low whine. Bran's pupils dilated until only a rim of hazel remained. The candle flames guttered as a chill swept the hall, and many swore a distant wind moaned through stone. When Bran spoke, his voice was not entirely his own. Echoing, layered as though centuries spoke through him. He recounted the tower scene, every stolen kiss, every word of secret longing, every laugh stifled behind a locked door. He spoke of the queen's children conceived of twins' love, not the king's seed. He spoke of the thrill upon Jaime's face as he pushed the climbing boy into air. As Bran spoke, the heart tree carved into the bowl bled fresh sap that trailed like crimson tears across the wood. Gasps turned to shrieks. A Septon crossed himself and fled. Cersei's composure shattered in a brittle laugh. Lies woven by sorcery? How convenient. Pycelle staggered forward, voice trembling. If the boy's gift is true, then the charges are monstrous indeed. We must test. A test. Ned's tone flared like tempered steel. Bran's dreams align with marks upon his own body, bones crushed from a fall. And see the queen's children. Not one carries the Baratheon black. Robert's gaze settled on Joffrey, whose fair hair gleamed like Lannister gold beneath the torches. Memory surfaced. His brothers, Renly's silky black curls, the dark sable of Stannis' heir, the coal-bristled beards of their forebears. A groan tore from Robert's chest, primal and wounded. Cersei. She rose in a sweep of emerald silk. I will not stand accused by witchcraft. Then stand accused by lineage. Ned motioned to Hullen, who brought forward a book bound in cracked leather. The lineages and histories of the great houses. The seed is strong, Ned recited. Black of hair, black of hair, black of hair. Until the day it was not. Robert's fists clenched. Guards stirred uneasy, torn between king and queen. Yet Jaime did not wait for orders. In a blur he closed on the dais. Sword drawn, red cloak flaring. Ser Barristan stepped to meet him, and steel sang. Sparks showered stone. The court erupted. Some fleeing, others screaming. Bran remained still, eyes glassy, as though he watched from afar. Ned wrested a longsword from a Lannister guard and waded into the chaos. Across the hall, Littlefinger vanished like a shadow in torchlight. Varys retreated sedately, robes whispering. Robert bellowed, "Enough!" The voice that once shook siege of Pike beat through the hall. Jaime and Barristan froze. Cersei paled. Silence, brittle as shattered ice, settled anew. Robert's shoulders heaved. Eddard, take the queen into custody until these claims are judged. Goldcloaks hesitated, eyes flicking to the lion crests on their pay pouches. Ned sensed the fragile thread upon which justice hung and stepped toward Cersei himself. She met his gaze with such naked hatred the air between them scorched. Then, in a movement swift as striking adder, she produced a small blade hidden in her sleeve. Summer leapt. His weight slammed her to marble. The dagger skittered from slender fingers. A hush. Then the queen's scream split iron silence. But Summer did not bite. He pinned, amber gaze daring any to challenge tooth and sinew. Atop the throne Robert sagged, thunder drained from him. Beneath Summer's restraint, Cersei shuddered. Bran blinked. The glaze left his eyes. He looked upon the sight with a sorrow too old for a 10-year-old face. Night soared high, scattering a tangle of stars across black velvet sky. In the Tower of the Hand, Ned stood at the window watching torch columns move along the Red Keep's walls. They bore Cersei to the part of the castle once reserved for foreign hostages. Imi, dispossessed and disarmed, had been marched off to the dungeons, though the gold of his hair still flashed defiance in the torchlight. Footsteps padded behind him. Robert entered, wine-stained goblet forgotten in hand. The king smelled of fear and heartbreak. "Ned," he rasped. "My friend." Ned gestured to a chair, though Robert ignored it. Were it only a dream? Robert's knuckles whitened around the goblet stem. "Tell me it can be undone." Ned set a steady hand on Robert's thick forearm. "The realm is not undone. A rot has been excised before it ate the bone. Nesh. Rot that wore my crown for years." Robert's throat worked. "Joffrey Myrcella Tommen. They are not mine." "They are still innocent of the sin that bore them," Ned said. "The fault lies with their mother and her brother." Robert lifted the goblet to his lips, then set it aside, untasted. "I will need you, Ned. I will need the boy too, it seems." Ned stiffened. Bran is no pawn for crowns. He may be the only lantern in play dark. Robert's voice softened. "I loved that child. Fancied him my nephew. Now, God's help me, I feel only distance." "Then that distance will pass," Ned assured. "Children can forge new truths with time." "Time," Robert echoed, Holodatawan. Then he straightened. "Tomorrow, small council with dawn. We decide the line of succession and the fate of Queen and Kingslayer." Ned nodded, though his thoughts strayed to Bran sleeping in the next chamber. Summer curled at his bedside like a sentinel. What path had he thrust upon his son? What weight lay upon Greensight's shoulders? The hour was late and full of threats. He returned to Bran's chamber. Moonlight silvered the boy's still face. Ned knelt, brushed hair from Bran's brow. Summer stirred but did not rise. Ned whispered, "Forgive me for using the boy's gift as sword and torch, for believing justice could be born of visions." Bran's eyes fluttered open. "I dreamed again," he murmured. Ned's heart clenched. "What did you see?" "Dragons," Bran whispered, "waking in the east, and a wolf at their side." Ned exhaled a broken breath. Half dread, half wonder. The night moved on. The realm turned beneath them, threads of fate weaving wild tapestry. But dawn would come, and with it, truths laid bare as bone. Morning spread a pale banner across the sky by the time Ned stood again before the Iron Throne. This time the hall was near empty, only small council, sworn brothers of the Kingsguard, and a handful of witnesses. Cersei, bound but unbowed, knelt under guard. Jaime knelt opposite, wrists in irons yet head held high. Tyrion leaned upon a crutch beside Varys, his mismatched eyes flicking from queen to king. Robert's crown seemed to weigh twice its gold. Maester Pycelle read aloud charges. Adultery, treason, attempted murder of a noble son, conspiracy against the realm. Cersei listened with a smile carved from ice. Jaime's jaw clenched with each syllable. Guilt or innocence, Pycelle concluded, shall be proved here and now. Ned produced the lineage book, the Weirwood Bowl, and, at Bran's insistence, a roll of parchment the boy had scrawled last night in quill-wobbling hand. Names, dates, visions inked as testimony. Yet before Ned could present them, Sir Barristan stepped forward. "I would speak," the old knight announced. Robert gestured, confused. Barristan's voice carried brittleness of age, yet iron of honor. Your Grace, I served King Aerys until the moment madness ruled him. I swore to protect the innocent. I cannot overlook the evidence set before us. I will stand witness for Lord Stark's findings. His words rang like a bell tolling doom. One of the King's Guard now turned from Queen and Kingslayer both. Cersei spat. Old fool. Jaime's chuckle echoed strangely in the hush. Perhaps honor is contagious. And perhaps treason runs in the blood. Barristan returned. Tyrion tapped his crutch softly. May I offer perspective? Sister, brother, confess swiftly, and perhaps the king's mercy may lighten the blow. Cersei's gaze could have flayed flesh. Little brother, your silver tongue will be your shroud. Robert slammed a fist on armrest. Enough prattle. He turned to Ned. Speak, Hand. Ned read Bran's written testament. Each word carried weight of destiny, describing scenes only gods might witness. The day Bran climbed, the Golden Twins' sin, the push. Describing how the ghosts of the old gods had shown the boy grand tapestry of truth. When he finished, quiet gripped the hall. Robert's eyes burned, not with rage alone, but grief. Cersei Lannister, he said, a king once more. Do you deny these crimes? Cersei lifted her chin. I deny nothing that gives me strength. I took what love I wished, as men do without censure. If that be treason, I'll. Her defiance staggered the court. Jaime's lips twitched, admiration or despair. Robert's voice cracked. And the boy you pushed? Would you have killed a child? Jaime answered, Not, Cersei. I would kill anyone who threatened her. That is the simple truth. A trembling filled Robert's broad chest. Then hear mine. By the power of the Iron Throne, I strip you, Jaime Lannister, of white cloak and title. You are condemned to die at sunrise on the morrow. Then Chamdendedi. Shock rippled. Jaime's smile vanished like mist. Yet he bowed his head as though a burden slid free. To my queen, Robert continued, voice barely more than gravel. I cannot bear to name sentence. I loved you once. Cersei closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, they shone wet yet fierce. Love is for songs. Robert turned to Ned. Tears glistened in the king's lashes. Hand of the king, past judgment. The hall inhaled. Ned Stark, who despised politics, who cherished mercy but honored truth, felt 1,000 north winds howl. He looked to Bran in his wheeled chair, pale fragility born of impossible courage. He looked to the Lannister twins, bound by chains and secrets. He looked to Robert, a man crumbling beneath crown and guilt. Ned drew breath. Your Grace, for the sake of realm and peace, let blood answer blood no more. Send Cersei to the silent sisters keep at Old Town to live her days in prayerful seclusion, forfeiting crown and claim. Send Jaime to the wall, to serve the realm he betrayed. Damn? A murmur of shock, of relief, of outrage. Robert shut his eyes. Shoulders sagging. So be it. Cersei's laughter rang, bright and shattered. You condemn us to worse than death. Very well, Wolf Lord. We will haunt your dreams. Jaime merely nodded once toward Ned, a warrior's acknowledgement of worth, even in defeat. That night Bran dreamed of the weirwood again. This time, its red sap flowed not like tears, but like wine spilled in celebration. Ravens perched along branches, croaked words Bran could almost understand. Futures where wolves ruled beside dragons. Futures where winter's heart thawed under sun of justice. He woke before dawn, heart thundering with hope he could not name. In the dawn's pale hush, Ned and Bran watched sunshine glint off Blackwater Bay. Gull cries arced over rippling water like distant laughter of children yet unborn. Catelyn's letter lay unread on the desk, the wax still warm. News of Robb mustering men, of North unrest at Queen's arrest. Yet Ned stood beside Bran quietly until the horizon birthed light. Are we heroes or villains? Bran asked at last. Ned knelt to meet his son's gaze. Neither. We are the sum of our choices. Bran nodded, as though he understood more than boy ever should. More choices will come. Yes. Ned's gaze swept the horizon where red and gold dawn bled together. Colors of Lannister. Colors of Baratheon. Colors of battle and birth. But whatever comes, we will face it with eyes open. Bran's hand sought his. Ned clasped it. The sea murmured, gulls wheeled, and the day began. And somewhere in the east, unseen yet inevitable, dragons stirred. Yeah. The bells of the great sept tolled prime, while mist still clung to the streets of King's Landing, and their hollow peal rode the wind through every crooked alley and gilded avenue. Courtiers and commoners alike woke to rumors as thick as chimney soot. Whispers of a queen dethroned, of a kingslayer stripped bare, of the wolf boy whose dreams cracked open a dynasty's lies. Each teller embroidered the story until truth and fancy tangled inseparably, yet on one point all versions agreed. The realm itself had changed shape overnight, as though the gods had pushed new pieces onto the board, and dared men to learn fresh rules. Within the Tower of the Hand, Eddard Stark stood at Bran's bedside watching the steady rise of the boy's chest. Dawn painted the room peach pale, but Ned's thoughts dwelt in shadowed corridors where vengeance prowled. Tywin Lannister would not bear humiliation in silence. The old lion's claws would rake Iron Throne and North alike. Ned expected ravens soon, some winging to Casterly Rock, others bursting into the throne room with crimson wax seals and dire warnings. Yet the first raven came bearing no golden sigil. It fluttered through the window and perched upon the bedpost, feathers frosted silver. Bran's eyes opened the instant the bird landed, and Summer's ears pricked forward. The raven inclined its head once, regal, almost courtly, then croaked a single word in a voice brittle as thin ice. Storm. Bran sat upright, sweat beading his brow. Ned reached instinctively, steadying him. What do you see? I'm not seeing, Bran whispered. Gaze locked on the bird. I'm hearing. The storm is coming from Dragonstone. He breathed as though each word scraped his lungs. Stannis sails, a black stag with a fiery heart. Ned's pulse thudded. Stannis Baratheon, Robert's grim brother, master of Dragonstone, possessed the iron certainty of a newly forged blade. If Stannis sailed, it was to claim what Robert's weakness kept from him, the crown, now poisoned by doubt. Ned swallowed hard. When? Soon. Bran's pupils trembled like struck water. Red sails at dusk, and fire on a shore of bones. And I'll. Ned lifted Bran gently until the boy's breathing steadied. Summer stepped between bed and window, hackles bristling at the raven, which offered no sign of fear. Ned untied the message bound to its leg. A single scrap of vellum blank, save for a wax seal, too small to bear sigil. He cracked it open. Nothing lay inside. An empty envelope. A silent oath. The message was the bird itself. When Bran's lids fluttered shut, Ned eased him back and slipped into hallways washed in gold morning light. Steel rang faintly beyond, men drilling in the yard, sharpening not just blades, but readiness. At the stairs' foot, Lord Commander Barristan waited, white cloak immaculate. The king asks for you in the small council chamber, Selmy said. Has word come from Dragonstone? Ned asked. Only rumor. Barristan's weathered face betrayed worry. Yet rumor oft outrides truth by only a few hours. The small council assembled beneath a vaulted ceiling where painted wyverns curled amid frescoes of conquest. Robert slumped at the head of the long table, a goblet at his elbow, though wine remained untouched. Grand Maester Pycelle fussed with scrolls, blinking owlishly. Littlefinger lounged, quill spinning. Varys glided in last, pink silk slippers whispering across marble. Ned took his seat beside the king. Your Grace, Stannis prepares to sail. Robert's sigh gusted like a furnace bellows quenched too long. Stannis has prepared to sail every fortnight since I put crown on my head. He cannot stomach court, so he hides in his fortress and sends letters colder than his heart. Let him sail. Yet Robert's eyes betrayed the ache of deeper fear. "Letters are not sales," Ned countered, setting the blank scrap of vellum upon the table. "A raven from Dragonstone with no words, only silence. Stannis means this. The truth needs none. He will lay claim." Littlefinger leaned forward, quill pausing mid-spin. "Clever as Stannis is dour. An empty message invites each reader to write his own doom." Pycelle pulled spectacles down his nose. "If Lord Stannis declares Joffrey a bastard, he must also condemn sweet Myrcella and Tommen. Even the small folk adore the princess." "Then shall." Varys folded plump hands. "A charming dilemma, isn't it? A lawful claim clothed in cruelty. Stannis might win law speakers, but he will never win hearts." Robert growled. "I'll have no war with my brother." "You may have no choice," Ned said. "Stannis will not be stayed by sentiment." "Then we must send envoys," Varys suggested. "Someone Stannis respects." Littlefinger's smile curved. "Stannis respects only truth and iron. Lord Stark has both." Robert's bloodshot eyes lifted to Ned. "Would you go?" Ned considered. Leaving King's Landing now meant exposing Bran to plots with only select guards and Summer for defense. Yet facing Stannis early might prevent ships landing swords upon city walls. "I will," Ned said at length, "provided Bran and my daughters are removed to safety." "The North?" Robert asked. "Winterfell awaits them." Ned's voice carried iron certainty beyond mere hope. If Tywin marched, stone walls of the North would prove anchor. Varys inclined his bald head. "I will arrange discreet passage. A slower hawk on a longer flight, so to speak." "Then shall." That afternoon, Sansa and Arya joined Bran in the Hand's Solar. Sansa's eyes remained red-rimmed from weeping at Queen Cersei's arrest. Arya stared at her needle-slender blade with grim anticipation of the road. Bran spoke little, fingers tracing patterns on Summer's fur as though writing hidden runes. Sansa finally found voice. "Is it true? The prince, my sweet prince, is still Joffrey," Ned answered gently. "But not Robert's son." Sansa's face crumpled. "He told me he loved me. He may have in his way." Ned knelt. "Love need not be lawful, yet laws bind greater than hearts. We Starks ride for Winterfell at dawn." "What of you?" Arya asked, eyes narrow. "I sail to Dragonstone. I must keep peace." "You always keep peace," Bran whispered without looking up. "But war keeps after you." Ned's throat tightened. He kissed each child's brow. "The gods keep us all." Evening glazed the sky copper when ravens clacked aboard the ramparts. One bore Lannister crimson. Ned cracked the seal while the children dined below. Tywin's words were spare and sharp. "Lord Eddard Stark, you hold my blood in chains. The debts of Casterly Rock are paid in gold first, fire second. Send my son, Lord Tywin Lannister." A second letter arrived an hour later from River Run, Catelyn's hand. Tully banners stir. The Riverlands ready for strife. Robb rides south should war spill. Be swift, beloved. Ned read them both thrice, then burned the lion's missive over a candle flame. He kept Catelyn's folded close to heart. At sunrise, the Stark party rode for the harbor. Bran's wheeled chair was fitted to a stout wagon lined with woolen furs. Hodor lifted Bran aboard, whispering. Hodor in fond farewell, as though his own name could shield the boy. Sansa ascended, escorted by Septa Mordane. Arya slunk behind, eyes scanning rooftops for crossbow glints. Summer leapt into the wagon last, settling against Bran's legs like living rampart. Ned gripped the rail. "North remembers," he said. Bran caught his father's hand. "Beware the boar," he murmured. Wind stirred Ned's cloak. "Boars?" Bran's hazel irises clouded momentarily, as if frost filmed them. "In the wood. White tusks. A crown of antlers upon its prey." He blinked, and the vision cleared. Ned's stomach nodded. Robert planned a stag hunt within days, an escape from courtly poison. Bran's warning chilled him deeper than night air. He swallowed his worry. "I will remember." The wagons rolled, hooves striking cobbles. Ned watched until banners vanished beyond the mud gate, only twin plumes of dust marking their passage. Then he turned to face Dragonstone. The sea swift cut through choppy waters under an overcast sky. Gulls wheeled overhead, crying like souls denied rest. Ned stood at the prow with Sir Barristan and a hand-picked guard of Northmen and Crown loyalists. Salt spray dampened hair and cloak. Dragonstone's basalt towers jutted on the horizon like broken fangs, and Ned felt as though he sailed into the mouth of some leviathan. They docked by midday. Stannis awaited atop the sea stair in plain oiled leathers, bearing the fiery heart stags. His eyes were chips of blue granite, his jaw a permanent threat. Behind him stood the Lady Melisandre of Ashai, red robes clinging like living flame, her scarlet hair ribbon streaming in windless air. "Lord Stark," Stannis greeted. He did not bow. "I expected ravens. You bring yourself." "I bring truth," Ned replied, disembarking. "Truth has long been absent from King's Landing," Melisandre intoned, voice low yet clear. "The night is dark, but a greater darkness gathers." Barristan frowned. "The realm has no need for riddles. The realm has need for light," she corrected. Stannis gestured them to the stone drum's great hall. No tapestries softened its volcanic walls. Only banners depicting the fiery heart of the Lord of Light broke the gloom. Torches burned cherry red, their tongues disturbing shadows. Stannis stood at the end of a long table. "Is Joffrey Baratheon of your blood?" he asked without preamble. "No." Ned's answer held firm. Cersei's children were begotten of her twin. Stannis' nostrils flared. Scant satisfaction. "Robert will not cede the throne. He is king still," Ned conceded. "But the line of succession demands correction. My counsel: name an heir acceptable to realm, bypassing bastards and avoiding war." "Bypassing me?" Stannis' stiff neck tightened. "I am Robert's heir." "Names alone hold no power," Melisandre murmured. "Power lies in the blood of kings." Ned met her red gaze. "Blood lies spilled when lords quarrel. We can spare Westeros that price." Stannis tapped mailed fingers on stone. "Spare?" "Tywin Lannister gathers forces even now. Renly whispers in gardens weaving pretty alliances. I gather ships. War is here." "Stark, you speak of sparing the realm. Then align with me." "Align how?" "Bring the North, River Run, and the Vale. Swear today, and we strike as one fist. Robert abdicates peacefully, or is removed. Law restored, realm reforged." "Mentor." Ned's stomach roiled. Dethroning Robert felt like plunging a dagger in friend's back. Yet Bran's visions foretold darker storms. "Robert must answer for his sins, yes," Ned said slowly. "But deposition invites chaos. House Baratheon's rule must end only if realm consents." Stannis' lips thinned. "Realm consents when swords speak." "The swords will speak soon," Ned allowed. "But words may guide them." Melisandre stepped forward. A ruby at her throat pulsed like living coal. "The prince that was promised comes. His song rides on dragonfire and the cold dead winds beyond the wall. You, Lord Stark, stand at a crossroad. Choose light. And no." Ned's breath felt frost-edged. "I am no follower of your fire god. The old gods whisper through your son," she said, eyes bright. "Yet even they know darkness stirring beyond Frostfang peaks. In dreams, I saw your boy crowned in weirwood leaves, guiding wolves and dragons alike." Ned forced composure. "My son is 10. 10 today," she agreed. "Older than many heroes when destiny called." Stannis raised a hand, silencing further prophecy. "We draft terms tonight. We sail at moonset if we must." "Nendabarsol." "Let us speak alone," Ned urged. Barristan glanced uneasily at Melisandre. Stannis nodded and dismissed retinue save the Red Woman, who withdrew into deeper hallways humming strange, throaty chant. Across the narrow table, the two men of iron will eyed each other. "I do not want your crown," Ned began. "I want peace. Peace will be buried beneath Lannister gold, Stannis said. You have seen Lord Tywin's wrath. He will not abide his children caged. I know. Ned rested with memory of Tywin's sack of King's Landing, the butchered babes. But the realm fears another mad king more than a proud lion. Stannis, if you march on King's Landing now, Robert will fight you. Brother will slay brother. Cersei's trial already rends the kingdom. Let us secure proof, present council of great houses. Stannis' chair scraped harshly. Proof? You have proof. You paraded it in court. Proof enough for Robert, but not for realm. We must bind the wounds of faith, keep the small folk from despair. Allow me to summon lords paramount to council. We shall put claims to vote. If they name you king, the throne's yours unopposed. Dine. Stannis stared at Ned's earnest grief. At length he said, if the lords name me, they will do so because I wear justice, not charm. Very well, Lord Stark. Summon them. But mark me, delay risks realm. Give me 1 moon turn. Half a moon, Stannis countered. 3 weeks. Stannis extended, gauntleted hand. 2, no more. In 2 weeks either I sail for throne on tide of banners, or I ride with you to speak peace. Ned clasped forearm. 2 weeks. Something gentle ghosted through Stannis' hard eyes. Respect, perhaps. Bring proof enough for storm's end. They hold me cat's paw as Renly prances. Ned nodded. They drank bitter night wine to seal bargain. That darkness, Ned's dreams roiled. He trod through Winterfell's godswood under full moon. The heart tree bled down its trunk until crimson pooled at his feet, reflecting stars. From the blood rose 3 forms, a stag with crowned antlers aflame, a lioness snarling, eyes emerald embers, and a direwolf white as newly fallen snow, moon in its eyes. They circled one another until the ground cracked, revealing black chasm, out of which surged icy mist. From that mist a shadow rose tall and terrible, crowned in icicles, eyes burning sapphire fire. The animals turned as one, leaping upon the shadow, yet found themselves melted into drifting snow. Ned woke drenched in sweat. Stannis' war horns echoing faintly across sea, though none were blown. Dawn bled red as the weirwood sap. In King's Landing, Robert's boar hunt gathered. Lord Renly clapped brothers on shoulders, jesting. Several Tyrell cousins glimmered like garden lilies among rougher Stormlanders. Sir Loras rode at Renly's side, green cloak streaming. The king's laugh rang forth through corridors as he donned armor gilded with prancing stags. Lord Commander Barristan was absent, at Dragonstone with Ned, so Kingsguard Sir Boros Blount and Sir Meryn Trant escorted. Varys urged Robert to take more guards. The king refused. I'm boar hunting, not waging war. Yet war rode in saddlebags. Cersei's arrest bred private rebellions. Gold cloaks loyal to Littlefinger whispered of investors withdrawing coin. Fleets in Blackwater readied for unknown flags. And from the west, riders brought word. Sir Kevan Lannister marshaled forces at Casterly Rock. No open banners flew yet, but camps stoked for march. Tyrion Lannister remained in the city under courtesy watch. He dined in the Tower of the Hand with Bran that evening, curiosity outweighing caution. Sansa refused to attend. Arya did, scowl hiding interest. Tyrion bowed to Bran. My Prince of Ravens, I owe you my freedom, though my siblings' faces say otherwise. I saw you free, Bran murmured, walking snowy battlements with black cloak. Tyrion chuckled. The wall? 7 helped me. I'd freeze before I reached Eastwatch. Then Nerwind. Perhaps you'll stay warm, Bran said. If the dragons return. Tyrion's brows rose. Dragons. Summer thumped tail once, as if confirming. Arya leaned closer, eyes shining. Tyrion sipped wine. Now there's a tale I'd pay a full purse to read. 2 days later, ravens arrived from the Trident. Lord Hoster Tully's health failing. Catelyn held vigil. Robb phased between tending father and sharpening steel. Riverlords heeded. From the Vale, Lysa Arryn sent curt refusal to any call for counsel, claiming her son ill-disposed for travel. She offered prayers instead. Ned sighed when letter reached Dragonstone. The Eyrie perched above politics, safe yet useless. But another raven bore silver wax of Old Town. The conclave of archmaesters requested audience with Bran Stark concerning ancient records of green seers. Ned read that line thrice. Knowledge of Bran's gift spread faster than plague. On the 12th night of his stay, Ned received Robert's boar hunt dispatch, a crimson-sealed letter from Varys. The king lies wounded by tusk. Venom festers. He raves names. Lyanna, Eddard. Return with haste. Ned's fist crushed vellum. The hunt had turned curse, just as Bran foresaw. He prepared to sail at dawn, 2 days earlier than bargain but imperative. Stannis watched the preparations silently. Robert is dying. Gravely wounded, Ned confirmed. Stannis' jaw flexed. Then throne will fall to its rightful heir. Not this way, Ned warned. Come peacefully. I will come in force, Stannis said. 2,000 storm knights board with me. They will protect my claim. Lannister armies march as well, Ned retorted. Meet sword with sword, and the realm burns. Stannis clasped Ned's forearm again. You have my word, I will claim without spilling more blood than I must. Ned saw no compromise but accepted. They sailed with dawn, a fleet of storm galleys shadowing the sea swift. Winds howled, and sea churned black. Lightning forked the sky, revealing silhouettes of dragons in cloud shape, or so sailors muttered. King's Landing's harbor bobbed with unfamiliar colors when they arrived. Banners of House Redwine, sails of Celtigar. Lords summoned by Renly under pretext of tourney, but now stranded by news of the king's wound. The city teetered on riot. Bread queues stretched into market squares. Gold cloaks doubled watch at gates. Eddard disembarked under hush of night. Barristan beside him. Stormland knights remained aboard until morning, as agreed. Yet whispers of their presence already scuttled across taverns. Within the Red Keep, corridors flickered dim. Servants scurried like mice. In the king's bedchamber, Robert lay pale, shirtless under sweat-soaked sheets. The wound at his flank glistened black, ringed by angry flesh. Pycelle hovered with leeches in shaky hands. Renly stood near Loras, face white. Ned knelt. Robert's lids fluttered. Ned, he croaked. I am here. Damn boar, bastard. Robert coughed blood-tinged spittle. Crown's heavy, Ned. Took me years to notice. Fingers sought Ned's. Promise. You'll look after Realm. After I'm gone. Ned's vision blurred. You are not gone. I smell the crypts. Robert's laugh cracked. Draft a letter, old friend. Name, and heir. Your choice. I trust you. He sagged, unconscious. Ned straightened. Renly stared, lips trembling. We must act quickly. Fetch parchment, Ned ordered. Pycelle waddled off. Loras excused himself. Ned turned to Renly. Summon Varys and Sir Barristan. And Stannis. All must witness. Stannis. Renly's jaw set. He will seize crown. Stannis' rightful heir, Ned said. Renly's voice dropped to fierce whisper. Rightful, perhaps, beloved never. The realm will not follow him. They will if guided. Better they follow me, Renly insisted. I have charm, alliances, Tyrell gold. Drop this, Ned warned. But Renly's eyes hardened. If you crown Stannis, you crown war. Barristan returned with Varys. Pycelle followed bearing letter. Ned drafted Robert's words, his own hand shaking. I hereby decree Eddard Stark Lord Protector of the realm, until my lawful heir comes of age. Robert scrawled signature, though ink blurred under his weakening grip. Ned added line naming Stannis as heir. Robert's vision slipped. He did not contest. Renly watched. Silent fury brewed. Varys' soft voice urged calm. Barristan asked Poole to seal letter with King's ring. At Candle's gutter, Robert died, breath leaving in a shudder that seemed to dim the torches. Silence fell. Ned closed friend's eyes and whispered the ancient northern farewell. The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. Rest, brother. Dawned. Bells tolled again, not for prayer, but for passing king. City awoke to grief shot through with greedy hope. Gold cloaks locked gates. Small folk handed flowers at palace steps. Yet behind those walls, plots rushed. Renly vanished ere sunrise, taking Sir Loras and 50 guards down Roserwad. Rumor said he rode for Highgarden to raise banner. Tywin's host crossed the Red Fork, smashing Tully outriders. Rhaenys' hill bustled with sellswards sniffing gold. Within the Tower of the Hand, Ned gathered counsel. Stannis entered, flanked by storm knights, face stone. On the table lay Robert's letter, sealed. Ned addressed assembled lords. Stannis, Barristan, Pycelle, Varys, Littlefinger, and Tyrion, invited by Ned as check on excess. Robert is dead. He named me protector until heir crowned. This letter proves his will. He passed it round. Stannis read, jaw working. Your last line names me heir, he said quietly. Law demands it, Ned answered. Realm demands constancy, Littlefinger interjected, smile thin. Constancy might prefer Prince Tommen. A child is easier shaped than a flint-hearted Stannis. Tyrion lifted brow. Forgive me, Lord Baelish, but legitimacy outranks malleability. Pycelle's hands trembled. The Queen's trial unsettles faith. Crown a child and mother returns as regent. Realm flees to comfort. Stannis glared. Crown a bastard and I carve truth into walls with fire. Ned raised palm. Enough. We convene a great council within 10 days. Lords paramount will judge claims. Until then, I hold the throne in trust. N.D. Littlefinger's eyes glittered. And the Iron Throne will allow that? The throne is iron, Ned retorted. It allows only what men uphold by oath. Varys inclined head. Then we must gird oaths. The gold cloaks of the city watch take coin easily. Their captain, Janos Slynt, values loyalty less. I will secure them, Littlefinger offered. A modest purse should smooth edges. Ned's gut turned. Trusting Littlefinger felt like grasping an eel. Yet funds were thin. He nodded reluctantly. Stannis leaned across table. 10 days, he said. No longer. 10 days, Ned echoed. That night Bran writhed in dream. He stood upon a wall of ice so high it pierced clouds. A horn bellowed 3 times, echoing off endless frost. From dark woods below, dead men marched. Blue eyes burning, flesh rimed in hoarfrost. A giant wight swung icy club at gate. Shards flew like glass. Atop the wall, a shadowy direwolf howled, joined by a cry of 3-headed dragon wreathed in flame. Bran woke screaming. Summer answered with feral snarl. Maester Luwin, now at Winterfell, could not soothe him across leagues. So within small chamber of the tower, Bran told his terrors to Sansa and Arya. Sansa wept anew, imagining white walkers. Arya sharpened needle. Father must know, Bran insisted. Sansa wrote letter in elegant script. Arya sealed with wax bearing direwolf stamp. A raven beat wings into star-studded darkness bound for Red Keep. Looters broke bakeries by 3rd night after King's death. Food prices soared. Gold cloaks patrolled but accepted coin to look away. Ned confronted Janos Slynt in barracks. Feed the city or it feeds on itself. Slynt bowed low, but his eyes calculated profit. In council, Tyrion proposed opening granaries at Rosby and Stokeworth. Littlefinger balked at cost. Varys supported. Ned decreed ships sail upriver to bring grain under guard. Meanwhile, Stannis' men quartered in Stormland's warehouse, drilling in courtyard. Their banners unsettled Lannister partisans. Clashes fouled alleys at dusk, leaving bodies clad in lion red or stag black. On 7th day, Ned received raven from Catelyn. Lord Hoster dead. Robb proclaimed war if father harmed. Tywin's host besieged River Run. The North mustered. Ned's heart wrenched. War lines drawn like cracks in winter ice. One misstep. Whole lake shatters. 2 nights before the council, Littlefinger requested private audience atop the Tower of the Hand's rooftop garden. Fragrant with moonlit jasmine, he arrived in sleek green doublet, eyes bright. Eddard, he began, I bring news of the gold cloaks. speak. They await a stronger purse. The lion's share, shall we say, may yet win them. They serve the realm, Ned said. They serve whomever keeps their children fed. Slint says Tywin offers double our treasury. Ned's jaw clenched. We will not outbid treason. Then tomorrow's council crowns Tywin's puppet. I trust Stannis' honor. Littlefinger laughed softly. Honor sits not a throne, my lord. Gold does. He drew closer. Marry Sansa to Joffrey, even bastard. He still holds crown's weight. Legitimize him through your daughter's claim. Lannister gold flows. Starks remain hand by blood. Ice pooled in Ned's veins. Sansa is a child. So was Lyanna, Littlefinger whispered. Yet crowns once turned on her beauty. Ned's hand shot to dagger hilt. Littlefinger's eyes widened in feigned innocence. Touchy, he said. Think on it. He stepped back, bowing. I serve the realm, as do you. Then he vanished into stairwell gloom, leaving Jasmine's cloying scent and Ned's rage hanging thick as northern fog. Council day dawned clear. Lords arrived. Mace Tyrell smelling of roses and subtle ambition. Randyll Tarly rigid as oak. Beric Dondarrion representing the Stormlands. Edmure Tully in mourning black. Balon Greyjoy sent none. The Eyrie absent still. Within throne room, Iron Throne glimmered like fused swords beneath colored glass light. Ned stood guardian with Barristan, Stannis at his left, Tyrells at right. Littlefinger lurked behind Varys. Pycelle sweated. Gold cloaks lined the hall. Janos Slint near base of throne, expression unreadable. Tyrion perched on stool beside dais, quill ready. Ravens perched overhead within gilded cages, uneasy. Ned addressed assembly. Robert's death, evidence of illegitimacy, witness of Bran's green dreams, sealed confession by Cersei. For she had finally broken under Silent Sister's cell, signing apology to gods though denying incest. Ned produced lineage book, Gene scrolls, Robert's will. Lords whispered loud. Stannis stepped forward. By rights of birth and law, I accept throne. He did not kneel. He did not smile. Mace Tyrell whispered with Tarly. Redwine nodded. Others hesitated. Littlefinger strode out. Good lords, he said brightly. Lofty claims require hearty evidence beyond sorcery. His Grace Joffrey yet lives, raised believing himself king. Would we strip crown from babe for whispers? Babe? Tyrion snorted. That babe flayed cats at 8. But Janos Slint barked. Gold cloaks serve King Joffrey. At his word, half the watch drew swords. The hall erupted in shrieks. Barristan's blade whistled free. Stannis' knights surged. Yet other gold cloaks, those who'd taken Ned's coin, turned on Slint's men. Steel rang, echoing. Littlefinger slipped behind pillar. Smile dropping. Ned shouted, Hold! His voice thundered above clamor. He leapt onto dais. Sword raised, but not striking. Sheath your blades. The first man to strike another dies by my hand. Remarkably, the hall hushed. Gold cloaks wavered, uncertain under twin commands. Blood beaded on a few blades, but no death blow yet struck. Stannis' glower swept room. Weakness, he hissed. Ned sheathed steel deliberately. Strength is holding blade in check. Barristan planted his sword, white cloak billowing. Listen to the hand. Tyrell banners lowered. Tarly halted men. Janos Slint sneered but signaled retreat. Littlefinger emerged. A tense rehearsal, my lords. Perhaps we reconvene after tempers cool. No, Ned said. We decide now. Edmure Tully stepped forward, voice steady. House Tully supports Stannis Baratheon. Beric Dondarrion echoed. Stormlords follow eldest brother. Tarly nodded curtly. Tyrell sighed but conceded. Slowly banners dipped toward Stannis. Littlefinger's eyes flicked to Slint. No help. He bowed shallow at last. The realm obeys. Stannis ascended dais but paused. He looked to Ned. Protector, will you place the crown? Ned lifted circlet of black iron and red tourmalines from velvet pillow. A new crown forged swiftly, stag and flaming heart joined. As he set it upon Stannis' shaved head, Ned's mind swirled with old gods' murmur. Bran's dream of Dragonwolf alliance lingered. Stannis turned to assembled lords. I swear justice with no fear nor favor. Treason will pay its toll. He glanced pointedly at Littlefinger and Slint. But mercy meets those who kneel. His gaze softened minutely on Ned. Lord Stark, kneel and rise as hand still. Ned knelt, though knees protested. He rose to applause scattered, uncertain, but growing. Tyrion clapped most enthusiastically. In that moment, raven-bearing Bran's warning burst from darkness, cawing thrice before perching atop throne. Its cry silenced the hall. Ned's blood iced at memory of Dreamhorn. He locked eyes with Stannis. Both sensed omen. Night fell. Stannis held council in smaller chamber. Threats tallied. Tywin marching, Renly raising Tyrell banners. Greyjoy silence ominous, winter winds north. Ned advocated swift reconciliation. Send ravens to Tywin offering trial by combat for Jaime's life. To Renly seat on small council. To Robb, apology and alliance. To Balon, trade concessions. Stannis rubbed brow. I will not bribe justice, but I will bargain peace. Draft letters. As scribes worked, Tyrion approached Ned. You saved my neck again, he said. My father will be livid. Better livid than bleeding, Ned replied. Tyrion smiled crookedly. One never knows with lions. From corridor came running footsteps. A steward burst in. My lords, Queen Cersei, she has escaped. Chambers erupted. Stannis slammed fist. How? Disguised as septa, aided by guard evading watch. Ned's eyes darted to Littlefinger absent, to Varys smiling too placidly. Bran's raven omen. He clenched jaw. Find her. Stannis barked orders. Barristan raced. Ned turned inward, hearing Bran's words. Dragons stirring. Lions escaped. Storm rising. And beyond, the White Walkers marched. He whispered to old gods, to new, to weirwood shadows. Let there be time. The realm would need every heartbeat they could buy. Far away atop Winterfell's towers, Bran looked southward. Wind tousled his hair. In his lap, parchment map of Westeros quivered. He traced path of raven flights with charcoal, lines crisscrossing like web. Wolves howled below. Bran closed eyes, and saw through third raven's gaze. A woman in gray robes boarding a fishing skiff by moonless night, slipping down Blackwater. Emerald eyes glinted. Bran woke and whispered to Maester Luwin. Send word. Queen flees to father. Do. Yes. Luwin hurried, quill scratching before ravens winged again. In Red Keep war room, Ned unfurled fresh message as dawn purpled. He looked at Stannis. She goes to Tywin, he said. Then we ride before 2 wars become 3. Stannis answered. They clasped wrists, ice and fire, stag and wolf, vowing to hold realm through oncoming storm. Behind them, Balon's silence broke with Raven, announcing ironborn fleets sighted off Shield Islands. And in distant east, red comet ignited night sky, bathing world in blood-colored light. Bran woke sighing. Dragons, he murmured, heart thudding with both terror and fierce delight. They wake, at last. And the realm, unready, marched into dawn. Okay. Night lingered at the edges of King's Landing like bruising cloud murk, when the Raven returned from Winterfell, carrying Bran's warning in tight northern script. Ned read the message beneath sputtering candlelight beside Stannis and Ser Barristan. Outside, sea winds rattled the shutters with jealous fingers. The boy's dream spoke of Cersei in flight downriver, Tywin's banners gathering salt spray as iron prows kissed Blackwater tides, and of pale shapes threading the snows beyond the wall. Ned's pulse started a slow hammer in his throat. They had outpaced neither lion nor darkness, merely peeled back one layer of tomorrow's storm. Before dawn, he and Stannis crossed the yard toward the grim vault, where Jaime languished in chains. Torches painted their cloaks ember gold, but the air between them remained rimed in wary frost. Each step clanged on flagstones loud enough to rouse ghosts of Mad King secrets. Outside the cell, a pair of storm knights relinquished keys. When the door groaned open, Jaime looked up from a bench with lazy half-smile, as if waiting for wine instead of judges. Filaments of torch glow carved lean hollows along cheekbones, still too handsome for gallows. His wrists bore iron manacles, yet posture flaunted unconquered arrogance. "You've come to barter your lives?" he drawled. Stannis' eyes were shards of obsidian. "You will pen letters commanding Lord Tywin to halt his march." Jaime laughed, rough with 3 days of stale straw and colder thoughts. "My father's quill obeys no cages." "You might be surprised what fathers will do for sons," Ned said. Jaime's gaze flicked, faint shadow of regret passing. Eddard Stark, ever the upright wall. Did it hurt, bending enough to crown another? "I bent to the realm's need." "The realm's need is a blade at its own throat," Jaime murmured, then leaned back. "I will sign nothing, but I will trade a truth." Stannis' jaw ticked. "Speak." "Cersei heads not to Casterly Rock, but to Harrenhal. The old lion marches there as well. They mean to crown Joffrey upon blackened stones that saw Aegon's fire, then invite vassals who remember dragon fear." Stannis' brows rose, but he did not speak question. Jaime answered all the same. "They think Harrenhal's legend will break you. Make small folk dread fire reborn and beg the golden lions for mercy. Father has hired pyromancers to conjure phantom dragons in night skies." His smile tilted wicked. The cruel twist. There are real dragons waking, though Tywin knows it not. Ned stiffened. "How know you this?" "I listen." Jaime tapped ear. "And I read my sister's riddles better than most." "Send your ravens north, Hand. Tell the boy prophet his flames draw closer by the hour." They left Jaime in smoldering lamplight. Outside, Barristan exhaled. "Twice I watched dragons fall. Yet now they crawl back into songs and schemes." Ned fingered Bran's letter again. "If Harrenhal is their aim, we must reach it first or bleed it dry of allies." Stannis nodded. "Storm's End vassals ride within hours. We march before moonrise." The raven to Winterfell flew with charcoal wings slicing blue dawn. At Castle Black, another raven banked down to clatter along rough-hewn railing, where Lord Commander Jorah Mormont stood in furs already crisp with rime. Snow whispered through high air. Beyond the wall, a horizon of jagged white gnawed at pale sky. Mormont unfurled Bran's parchment duplicate, frowning at Child Stark Hand. "Cold shadows walk. Send word south. The wall will weep red tears." He folded it once, twice, and tucked against heart. Below, Jon Snow, now First Ranger, drilled fresh recruits on Crunching Yard. When Mormont summoned him, Jon brushed frost from cloak edge and climbed steps 2 at a time. "Bad news?" he asked, voice raw from morning chill. "Dreams from your brother, and old ghosts." Mormont smacked paper. "He sees White Walkers stirring, same as our ranging reports. Dead villages at White Tree. Tracks of things that bleed blue. I ride with 50 men at dusk. You take Shadow Tower detachment west. Search the Frostfang passes. If we find proof, we light all 6 beacons and send ravens through every gate from Eastwatch to Mullstown." "Then?" Jon nodded. "We'll find them." "Pray you don't," Mormont muttered. In Riverland's twilight, Catelyn knelt before her father's stone effigy newly carved and placed beside the god's eye-fed water gardens of Riverrun. The last pink glimmer flecked water where trout had leapt on summer days. Robb stood at her shoulder clad in boiled leather. Fresh commander yet with boy's grief still moist in eyes. Lords Vance, Piper, and Blackwood crowded near, each bearing tidings of Tywin's force setting siege lines upstream. Hoster Tully's pyre smoke had not yet drifted to ocean when drums of war thudded south. Catelyn pressed Robb's hand. "Your father's letters say Stannis sits throne. He and Ned call council at King's Landing." Robb swallowed Alani's grief. "If Stannis is crowned, Riverlands need not bleed. But Tywin seeks vengeance and Cersei flees to him." "Jaime's life is still coin," Catelyn reminded. We hold that purse. We ride for the twins tomorrow. Seek passage and muster north banners at Moat Cailin. Tywin will learn wolves guard their own. And now. Robb drew sword from scabbard, steel reflecting torchlight. For father, for Bran's visions, for winter coming. On the Iron Islands, Lord Balon Greyjoy stood atop sea tower parapets, staring east beneath red-tinged dusk. The comet's tail stained water like rusting iron. Balon tightened cloak and spoke to his daughter Asha. Stag crowns, lions roar. Wolves gather. While they tear, we take. When? Asha asked. 10 days, Balon said. Victarion sails black-tide fleet along Sunset Sea, fighting for Arbor. You strike north coast of Westeros at Deepwood Motte. By the time they notice, we hold Moat Cailin and choke the North's retreat? Asha smiled sea-sharp. And Dragonstone's new king? Balon spat. The South squabbles. We pay the iron price. 2 nights after Stannis declared march for Harrenhal, Ned walked palace corridors alone. Sleep impossible through weight of letters waiting for wax seals. Candle flames jittered, throwing his elongated shadow against panels depicting Aegon and sisters, long since ash. He slipped onto a balcony overlooking the city. The comet speared overhead, red and immense. Rumors named it Sword of Vengeance, Dragon's Breath, Lady Stoneheart's Veil of Wrath. Ned saw only portent, Bran's whispers and icy echo behind eyes. Footsteps approached, Melisandre moving like living ember, red silk breathing across stone. She joined him wordlessly. For a time they watched thin lamps flicker along Fleetbottom's alleys. She spoke first. The comet is Lightbringer kindled. Ned exhaled white sigh. Or simply, rock aflame. Doubt is river men drown in, she said. Truth the shore they never reach. She turned to him. Ruby at her throat pulsed. You guard a boy of gifts. The prince I saw in flame bore wolf's head but eyes of ancient tree. He must stand beside Azor Ahai, reborn when night falls for last time. Stannis? Ned asked. Or another. Prophecy stammers. Her smile was fire-thin. Lead the boy south to Dragon Queen. The flames insist. My son is heading north, Ned answered. Voice iron. Then the night will take longer to break. Melisandre's gaze drifted toward horizon where Storm's End hosts encamped beyond city walls. Thousands of torches glimmering like fallen pieces of that red star. Save him from cold. Light is mercy. She glided away, whisper trailing like cinder. Cersei's skiff hugged riverbanks through morning fog more than fortnight. She shed scepter robes once safely beyond Duskendale, and donned black doeskin. Riding leathers trimmed crimson, Sir Loren Marbrand led half-score outriders. Myrcella and Tommen rode pillion behind sworn maids disguised as small folk. Joffrey, disguised not at all, sulked each muddy league. On third night his mother unrolled Tywin's cipher. Harrenhal by 7th moonrise. Qyburn prepares illusions. The pyromancers demand jade. Deliver them. A smile like drawn steel cut Cersei's face. She pressed parchment to lips. Father always knows the game. They reached outskirts of Harrenhal beneath pyre-scented twilight. Towers of melted stone clawed sky like petrified giants. In rubble courtyards, work crews raised wooden stages. Painted dragons coiling along canvas wings under alchemist supervision. Qyburn greeted with serpentine bow. Wildfire illusions will dance across night fog, my lady. Peasants will scream, lords will believe. He led them to Keep of Kingspire where rooms hung with fresh lion banners. Myrcella gasped at charred vault arches. Tommen pressed close, eyes wide. Joffrey only sneered, asking when he might test crossbow on captives. Cersei stroked his hair, voice low. When father arrives. The morning Stannis host marched from King's Landing, the streets thronged with small folk waving rough stag banners, some patched over old Baratheon black, others hastily dyed. They cheered the new king, yet eyes darted to walls where Tyrell and Redwine pennants still fluttered uncertain. Ned rode beside Stannis beneath Gate of the Gods. Barristan's white cloak trailed like fallen snow between lines of gold cloaks assigned to protect the palace in their absence. Tyrion remained behind to oversee grain levies and keep Littlefinger in sight. No easy feat. Varys vanished before first cockcrow, leaving only perfume of lavender in council chamber. 6,000 foot and 1,000 heavy horse followed King along Rose Road northeast, with galleys shadowing coast ready to supply. Ned's own contingent of Northmen rode center, grey direwolf snapping in brisk wind. As they passed sepulchral ruins of old field of fire, Melisandre paused her palanquin, crimson eyes sweeping scorched grasses. She whispered to flames cupped in her palm. The grasses hissed, flared briefly, leaving curving line of new black among pale ash. Stannis asked nothing. By dusk third day they reached a crossroads inn half rebuilt after earlier skirmish. Farmers there spoke of Harrenhal's new lights, green-tongued dragons cavorting across dark sky like aurora. A sellsword company called Brave Companions now garrisoned Outer Bailey, extorting coin and comfort at sword tip from poor hamlets. Hearing this, Stannis ordered 100 cavalry to ride ahead at dawn, surprise the mercenaries before illusions coax wider fear. Ned volunteered to lead. Stannis agreed, though Melisandre insisted one of her red priests accompany. A tall summer islander named Nokoro joined, eyes gray flame behind soot-tattooed lids. Ned's vanguard rode under half-moon, hooves muffled by dew-soft turf. Mokoro chanted behind him, language like rolling embers. Dawn kindled horizon as Harrenhal's contour hulled sky, monstrous silhouette of grief. Above gatehouse wildfire illusion still shimmered faint, a dying trick of alchemists. But new smoke rose from yard, deeper gray, the cooking fires of many men. The vanguard split into three. Ned led central wedge. Sir Davos Seaworth flanked left, Sir Godry Farring right. They galloped for Broken Gate, where two sellswords lounged. Arrows took one, the other fled screaming. The cavalry burst into courtyard, hooves crushing ashes where Harrenhal's last roasted victims still haunted air. Brave companions scrambled from barracks half-armored, shouting in tongues of free cities. But surprise gave Stannis' riders razor edge, pikes lowered, lances shattered, blood-drenched cracked stone floors until feral dogs lapped at steaming pools. In tower corner painted illusions flickered out as wildfire pots were dashed, green flame guttering harmlessly on prior slag. Ned dismounted at Godswood Stump, where once Weirwood loomed before Aegon's flame. He knelt among roots charcoaled centuries, whispering prayer for Bran, and for all eyes of old gods now blind. Mokoro approached, removing iron mask. "Shadow here thick with memory," he said. "Pray it doesn't drink your hopes." A horn blew from outer keeps. Tywin's vanguard, red banners heavy with morning wind, closing downhill slope. Ned's riders barricaded new gates, while runners signaled Stannis 2 leagues back. Battle would come before noon. Catelyn's column reached the twins under chill drizzle. Lord Walder Frey stood greasier than memory, lined by brood of new spawn. He listened to Robb's request for passage and marriage pact for Edmure, much to his uncle's chagrin, then spat phlegm and river swirl for emphasis before granting crossing. As Robb's host filed onto bridge, ravens overhead carried news. Stannis met Tywin at Harrenhal. Stormland's banners clash with Lannister gold. Wildfire illusions snuffed. Wolves scented lion blood. Robb ordered drums. "South," he commanded, "before sun sets on Harrenhal walls." In Harrenhal heat haze, Tywin's host rolled like molten ore. Trumpets blazed. Catspaw knights advanced beneath surcoats lion red. Stannis arrayed infantry in crescent before cracked curtain wall. Archers perched along broken rampart teeth. Ned commanded western flank, Davos east. Sun crawled but hours above horizon when first arrows hissed. Clamor surged. Shields clattered, men screamed, horses shrilled. Tywin's first rush aimed to break Ned's flank, golden lances punching through mud. Yet Mokoro's red priests loosed firepots. Scarlet tongues licked horses' bellies, sending beasts rearing. Northmen surged with axes. Ground turned slippery. A unit of House Clegane spearmen carved path toward gate, until Barristan led reserve cavalry in counter-lance. White cloak, bright, even when spattered crimson. Mid-battle, Ned saw Cersei above Kingspire turret, green cloak billowing, gaze intent. She raised gilded horn, a signal. From inner yard, huge wooden effigy of dragon was hauled, alchemists igniting wildfire veins, its maw spewed emerald flames sweeping Stannis' central shield wall. Men shrieked as skin bubbled, panic rippled. Stannis rode forward himself, shouting vow of our lore, sword raised. Melisandre at his side lifted ruby-tipped staff. A wind unnatural stirred, and flame parted like curtain, splitting around the king, leaving safe path. Soldiers gaped. Some knelt, proclaiming miracle. Others, lion or stag, staggered from burns. Ned had ordered archers, aim for effigy. Shafts flitted. One struck wildfire bladder. Action roared, sending dragon shards skyward in incandescent storm. The blast toppled a tower fragment, crushing Sellsword catapult team. Clegane's Doghelm Knights rallied under Gregor's brother Gorman. Their charge toward Stannis nearly reached lines when a northern groom loosed dire wolf pup, had hidden in supply wagons, grown into lean, gray-white adolescent. It lunged snarling. Confusion turned, men stumbling under hoof and tooth. Barristan's cavalry circled, cutting Clegane's down. Afternoon waned. Tywin's center faltered. Redwine Foot, lent by Tyrell, began retreat. Randall Tarley's detachments, loaned earlier to Tywin, refused to advance further than Moat. Tywin signaled horns and pulled back, preserving core heavy horse and Cersei with royal children into field camp south. Harrenhal yard lay carpeted with corpses, banners charred, smell of wildfire clinging. Stannis' standards still flew. In ruined chapel Stannis and Ned convened beneath cracked roof where sunlight smeared dust motes. Melisandre hovered behind King. Mokoro knelt drawing signs with chalk ground from charred stone. Barristan-bound shoulder wound yet remained stiff as drawn bow. Davos reported casualty lists, grim but survivable. Ned wiped blood from brow. Tywin withdraws to regroup. Robb marches from twins. We must not allow lions to join boars or roses. Stannis considered map pinned with daggers. We hold Harrenhal. Let Robb close from north, our stormlords from south. Tywin will be hammer caught between walls. Unless Renly reaches us first, Barristan warned. Renly courts Highgarden, Stannis answered. He will not risk open battle while Tyrell fortune's uncertain. A page ducked in, breathless. My lords. Scouts report Ironborn sails at Cape Kraken. Deepwood Motte taken, Moat Cailin under siege. Ned's hand closed into fist. Theon's family moves while we bleed inland. The north cannot reinforce. Robb would face both lion and kraken. Ned felt tug of paternal dread, but duty moored him south. He looked to Stannis. Grant me riders to break siege at Moat if Robb falters. You are my hand, Stannis argued. I need you. You need the realm united, Ned replied. If north falls, throne is worthless. Stannis' tight expression cracked into reluctant assent. When Tywin is finished, you ride north with half my cavalry. Conversation ended by trumpet. Tywin's envoy seeking parley. Sir Kevan rode white banner under dusk. Ned and Stannis met him amid no man's land, strewn with arrow shafts. Kevan dismounted gravely. Lord Tywin offers exchange. Jaime for safe withdrawal of Lannister forces and recognition of Stannis' crown. Stannis' brows lifted. Withdraw where? Back to Casterly Rock to raise new armies? My lord father would return west, pledged to hold no sword against the crown 1 year and 1 day. And Cersei? Ned asked. She remains with King Joffrey. Stannis' mouth thinned. There is no King Joffrey. Kevan's grief-creased face betrayed cracks. He is still blood to me. He handed sealed parchment. Cersei's words promising Westeros a Lannister Baratheon line from Tommen's descent. It reeked of desperation. Ned weighed. Jaime coin could free Riverlands. Robb long demanded father's release. Yet Tywin's armies freed might still savage north after year. Stannis shook head. Refuse. Jaime stands trial. Then my father marches anew, Kevan warned. March and die, Stannis said. Kevan bowed. When lions roar, mountains shake. He rode away. Night blanketed battered fortress. Fires crackled. Moans of wounded drifted. Ned stood atop gate, looking out where campfires of Tywin glittered. Beyond, lanterns like constellations in dark mire. He considered Bran's first dream, lion-devouring stag heart. That had come. Yet Bran's later dream, wolf with dragon, still loomed unformed. He descended to Bran's ravens housed in rookery chamber. One black bird hopped, eye pale like milk, pupil diamond thin, blood-raven sigil of old tales. Ned freed parchment, Harrenhal holds. Come swift. Bring songs of ice and fire. He tied it to leg. Bird bit his finger, then lifted through arrow slit. Within Bran's chamber far in Winterfell, the boy watched same bird's eyes glaze ghost white, across thousands of leagues. He saw through swirling snow to land drowned in winter, to Eastwatch where sea froze in creeping fingers. Figures moved upon ice, tall, gaunt, crowned by frost horns. They led whites chained by blue firelinks. In their midst, a baby with wolf's howling face cried, features shifting to match Bran's own. Bran jerked awake screaming. Maester Luwin rushed, draught of poppy sleep prepared. Bran refused, eyes wild. I must go to the wall, he whispered. The raven calls. That eve Asha Greyjoy roasted boar in Deepwood's captured hearth, taunting Lady Glover bound nearby. The door burst and Theon strode, armor blackened, expression hollow. News of Balon's plan had reached, but something else churned inside. Dragon's wake, he muttered to sister. Asha laughed. Dragons or drowners, will sack all before them. Theon wiped rain from brow. I saw sails burned at Harlaw. Victarion's fleet fights phantom fire at sea. Some curse rides waves. Lightning split window, illuminating shape of Leviathan breaching, endless dark sea. Thunder shook stones. Ironborn glanced at each other, muttering of deep ones. South of Harrenhal, Gregor Clegane reunited with Tywin's vanguard, helmet dented, rage uncontrolled. Qyburn stitched wounds on his shoulder, whispered of new arts, blood magic to raise giants stronger yet. Clegane listened, yellow eyes dull with interest. Nearby Cersei paced, golden hair matted with soot. She gripped dagger hilt. We lose ground. Tywin contemplated war map.at. We lose positions, not ground. He placed 3 golden lion tokens upon Crackclaw Point, Stony Sept, and Derry Detotting. We harry roads, intercept Robb before he reaches Harrenhal, cut supply lines, starve Stannis inside his own ruin. Cersei's lip curled. And our children. Joffrey is symbol, Tywin said. Symbols endure while men die. He ignored her gasp. Tommen goes to Sunspear as ward. Myrcella to Highgarden. We scatter pieces. Fire cannot melt gold if spread. Cersei's eyes flamed. I will not yield my cubs. You have yielded everything else, Tywin replied coldly. She struck him. Silence flattened tent. Tywin wiped blood from lip. Eyes ice. Your choices set this board ablaze. Now you will obey. He turned away, summoning messengers. Cersei's shoulders trembled, but anger sealed mouth. Behind eyes new plan unfurled, dangerous and cracked like wildfire jar. In King's Landing, Tyrion oversaw city readiness. Grain ships from Rosby arrived, but rats devoured half. Littlefinger vanished 2 days earlier, but rumor placed him in Storm's End courting Renly. Gold cloaks drilled unevenly. Janos Slynt accepted bribes from both Rose and Lion envoys. Tyrion appointed Bronn to train new watch from gutter-born youths, loyal to coin and dwarfs' deadly cunning. Secretly, he inspected alchemist guild stores, commissioning chain of wildfire pots across river shallows. Should Tywin or Renly siege by water? One evening, Shay found him atop Maegor's holdfast parapet, eyes on Comet. Does it scare you? She asked. Dragons seldom spare children, he replied. They say Dragon Queen rises in east. And fools say many things, Tyrion murmured. But I taste brimstone on wind. He squeezed her hand. Gather belongings. If city falls, we flee by tunnel, Varys showed. Now, will we be safe? No one is, he said gently, but we try. East of Red Waste, Daenerys Targaryen awoke beneath bleeding star to dragon hatchlings curled around shoulders. Drogon nipped ear. Rhaegal hissed at cool wind. Viserion chirped hunger. Her Khalasar, small but loyal, trudged along desert path to ancient trading city Korth's distant shimmer. But that night a dream seized her. A boy with silver eyes standing in snow, pointing north. A man in gray fur speaking her name. Wolves howling. A dragon older than hills soared behind them. She woke shivering despite heat, whispering, "Stark." Back in the north, Jon Snow's patrol climbed Frostfang Ridge under Aurora Glaudado. Ghost trotted ahead, fur luminescent. At ridge crest, valley spread like white graveyard. Shapes lurched, whites by the dozen, led by tall blue-eyed thing wielding spear of crystal. Jon signaled halt. His men gripped torches dipped in dragonglass pitched oil. Snow's breath plumed. Ghost growled low. The other turned, gaze locking on Jon across gulf of moonlit snow. Slowly it raised spear in salute. Gesture almost knightly. Then it vanished into pine gloom. Whites followed, leaving valley silent. Jon's heart pounded. He sheathed longsword. "They're scouting." "Testing," muttered Corran half-hand beside him. "Winter's scouts before storm." "We must reach Castle Black swift," Jon said. "Ravens will not outrun that," Corran replied. Eyes upon red comet blazing overhead. "But we ride." At Harrenhal dawn, Stannis surveyed battlefield smoke columns curling into peach sky. Robb Stark's banners approached from North Ridge. Grey direwolf and Tully salmon intertwined. Horns announced arrival. Fields between hosts, strewn with bodies. As Robb rode through shattered gate, dust-coated hauberk, father and son clasped forearms, emotion taut inside armor. Robb's red wolf Grey Wind trotted up, nose twitching at wildfire taint. Robb's eyes measured Melisandre's crimson presence. Stannis' rigid poise, Ned's exhaustion. "Good you came," Ned said. "North is aflame," Robb replied. Greyjoy seizing coast, Umber and Glover embattled. "But first we end Lion." They met with Stannis in Keep Hall where stone still radiated dragonfire heat, centuries old. Strategy shards lay across chalkboard floor, Tywin's retreat path, Renly's uncertain vector, ironborn axes. Stannis listened to Robb's report, then spoke. "We split. I hunt Tywin west, break him at Tumblestone. Robb rides north, relieves Moat Cailin. Ned remains hand, travels between fronts, wing that binds." Ned protested, leaving Harrenhal undermanned, but Davos proposed garrison of Storm's End veteran foot, plus Robb's Karstark archers. Barristan volunteered to command Keep. Decision sealed by Raven reporting Balon's fleets. Striking Flint's finger, Ned's heart lurched. He embraced Robb, whispered trust. Robb smiled tight. "Tell Bran I've not forgotten summer's howl." They parted under Comet's daytime glare. In Dorne's sun-baked gardens, Prince Doran received Myrcella under escort of Sir Aerys Oakheart. Though gout confined him, Doran's mind strode politics. He read unsealed letters Stannis sent, overtures for peace. Yet Quentyn in East wrote of Silver Queen with dragons, and Comet, scorched skies. Doran tapped Cain. "Let the lions think us cradle. We are fangs." He ordered Maester Caliot to pen neutral reply. Meanwhile sand snakes plotted in alcoves. In Highgarden, Lady Olenna Tyrell sipped plum wine, while Renly polished stag lily sigil. "Armor," she told him, "you chase crown but ignore weather. Stannis now holds Harrenhal. Tywin broken, North restless. Your place is not crown but kingmaker." Renly frowned. Loras argued. But news of wildfire dragon illusions failing deflated Renly's glamour. Olenna continued. "You'd Marguerite to Robb Stark. Feed lions to wolves, wolves to roses, then harvest." But Renly's pride balked. He marched to Storm's End to gather new host. At Storm's End ramparts, Rainbow Guard debated rumors. Brienne of Tarth listened silent, heart torn between Renly's gentle smile and tales of Stannis' miracle at Wildfire Wall. She prayed before shield of blue and gold. Wind carried seabird cry. Tywin withdrew to Darry, burning villages behind to slow pursuit. Their Qyburn presented new terror. Cages of half-dead men sewn with lion sigils, their mouths stitched open, bellies filled wildfire sacks. Release them into enemy camp, he advised, turn battlefields into hell. Tywin's eyes flicked to Cersei. She smiled approval. That night Tywin dreamed of chair made of weeping swords. When he sat, they twisted into gold that melted, drowning him. He woke gasping. Cersei slipped into his tent. I will go to Sunspear with Tommen, she said softly. But first, give me command of vanguard. Let me prove Lannister blood still bites. Tywin considered long. Take Gregor's remnants, ride for King's Road. Strike supply wagons to Harrenhal. Weaken them, then vanish. She kissed his ring, eyes savage. Under gray dawn Robb's force skirted God's Eye Lake northbound. Scouts burned Ironborn longship, beached along Trident. Bodies bore sigil of drowned god. Charred. Robb frowned. Theon's family carved deep. On 9th day they reached Moat Caelan's beleaguered ramparts wreathed in arrow smoke. Ironborn Ziga towers crowded causeway. Kraken banners snapped. Robb's trebuchets lobbed flaming pitch. Battle cries echoed across swamps. Amid chaos, Queen's men cavalry, sent by Stannis, fell upon Ironborn rear, surprising Reavers unused to disciplined charge. Spears shattered. Salt-drenched warriors fell screaming into bogs that swallowed armor whole. Asha Greyjoy narrowly escaped, wounded, as Robb's great John Umber wrestled her second into mire. The gatehouse reclaimed, ravens soared with victory cry. North holds. But triumph dulled by Raven requiring Robb send half-host east. The wall called for aid. White shadows sighted at Queenscrown. Robb convened lords. Stannis hunts lion, we hold kraken. Yet winter's wraiths stir. The north must answer. Galbart Glover, whose seat burned, protested. But old Nan's tales had weight. Banners nodded. Robb dispatched Greatjon with 2,000 to Castle Black, while he repaired walls at Barrowton. Jon Snow reached Castle Black same hour as beacon fires flared. Mormont read Brienne message from Catelyn, begging for safe passage through gift for her own convoy. Jon embraced Sam Tarly, who had deciphered runes of dragonglass discovered on Skagos. Symbol of children aligning wolf-dragon alliance. Jon prepared message to Ned. We need fire and glass. Send south. Ravens loaded. At Harrenhal, Ned convened Council of Maesters captured from Pyrmont. They scoured Grand Library for Valyrian texts on dragonglass and wildfire synergy. Mokoro assisted, red flame curling over scroll edges without burning them. The priests claimed R'hllor could transmute obsidian into light-bearing blades. Ned arranged caravan north with such knowledge, guarded by Karstark spears. That night, he received Raven from Tyrion. Littlefinger courts Renly. Grainstocks low. Varys vanished with Sellsword Girl. Beware Queenslayer's bargain. Ned sighed. Stannis beat Tywin at Tumblestone, capturing lion wagons filled with wildfire corpses before they could detonate. Qyburn fled but left journals. Davos read with horror. Burned them. Tywin withdrew to Riverrun outskirts, raising new levy among Frey outcasts. Renly finally marched east, 20,000 strong under Rose and Stag. He reached Darry ahead of Stannis, offering Tywin alliance. Roses, lions, emerald stags versus black stag. Tywin considered. Cersei favored, but Jaime still captive checked vengeance. Tywin demanded Renly secure Jaime's release first. So Renly rode to Harrenhal envoy. Inside throne room of melted stone, he met Stannis before Blackspire throne, once seat of Harren kings. Renly smiled wide. Brother, no need to quarrel. We divide kingdom. You keep north, I rule south, riverlands we share. Stannis' mouth twitched like drawn bowstring, but Ned intervened. Divide kingdom, and invite others to feast, Ned said. He produced Joan's raven scroll about White Walkers. Winter's enemy returns. We need one king. Renly scoffed. Old wives. Melisandre stepped forward, fiery shadow writhing behind. The night speaks truths you mock. Deny and you will drown in darkness. Renly eyed her red robe. I prefer drowning in wine. He turned to Ned. When Stannis sends mummers shows home and stops burning gods, maybe Realm accepts him. Until then, roses choose their own crown. He left. That night fog rolled over Harrenhal thicker than breath. Crimson pinpricks flaring inside like demons. Guards swore they saw shadow in shape of man wearing stag-crowned helm slipping through cracks. At dawn they found Renly's envoy camp shredded. Tents collapsed, men dead with look of terror, bodies drained of color. Qyburn's signature absent. This death was silent. Melisandre prayed over remains. Her ruby glowed blood-bright. She whispered to Stannis, who nodded grimly. Rumor flew. Shadow assassin took Renly. Yet Renly breathed still, far at camp. Unsleeping but alive. Though he felt chill that would not leave bones. In camp, Loras discovered scratch upon Renly's tent post. Sigil of flayed man. Bastard of Bolton's calling card. Loras vowed to cut him to pink ribbons. Winter beyond wall deepened. Jon and Corin sighted first full host of others at Frostfang foothills. Thousands of whites herded by tall bone-armored generals, riding skeletal elk. Horns of first men, stored in fist of first men, vibrated in saddlebag. They rode for wall through blizzard that felt alive, pursued by silent hunters. At Queen's Crown Ridge arrow shot by white struck Corin. Jon slew him, then used dragonglass dagger to sever Corin's reanimated hand. They reached Castle Black. Horn received them. Ravens blackened sky. Shot forth bearing single word. Doom. In King's Landing, wildfire chain completed. Tyrion watched River Gate closed with iron boom. Inside Holdfast. Sansa prayed. Arya slipped through secret passages listening for plots. She overheard Janos slint plan to open gate to Cersei's raiders. She found Tyrion, breathless, revealed overheard details. Tyrion nodded, arranged midnight arrest. Bronze Cell's words hauled Slint to dungeons. Arya asked for sword lessons. Tyrion recommended Hyle hunt. Ned prepared to ride north with cavalry when Bran's latest raven arrived. Dragons born? I must journey east. Trust the wings. Luwin's postscript begged father deny boy. Such notion. Ned closed eyes, saw Weirwood sap tears, felt crossroad of prophecy. He penned answer. Remain Winterfell until I call. Wolves guard home. But the raven flown with letter never reached. Storm of centuries swept sky, scattering birds. Far across sea, Daenerys entered Korth's jade gates. Pyat welcomed her to House of the Undying. In glassy corridors she saw visions. Snow-covered throne room where wolf-eyed child sat upon spidery throne of roots. A man with sword of burning ice facing three-headed shadow. A tall, stark lord kneeling to Dragon Queen beneath red comet. She emerged, shaken yet resolved. Westeros called. She told Jorah. We sail west when dragons strong. In Darry ruins. Cersei studied wildfire jar glowing in hands. Qyburn whispered formula. Dragon seed plus wildfire equals shadow flame. She resolved to unleash on Harrenhal, Crown, or Ash. Balon's fleet clashed with Stannis' supply galleys near Seaguard. Davos captured Victarion after duel amid burning ships. Ironborn thrown in chains. On Tumblestone banks, Ned's convoy to north intercepted by Gregor Clegane's reassembled gang. The mountain, now half mad from Qyburn's elixirs, struck like avalanche. Karstark spears broke. Ned engaged mountain personally. Ice blue eyes behind helm. Sword met greatsword. Sparks flew. But Mokoro invoked fire, blade of obsidian igniting. Mountain staggered, blinded, withdrew. Ned's caravan escaped, though losses heavy. At Twins, Walder Frey hosted secret dinner with Tywin's envoy promising Lord Paramountcy if he blocked Robb's return. Walder's eyes glittered. Robb met Galbart's dispatch. Frey may shift. He sent Talisa Maker as healer emissary to Riverlands to show mercy. Winter's first real blizzard buried Barrowton. Direwolves howled. Old women whispered long night again. Bran dreamed of Horn of Winter blowing, wall collapsing, dragons rising to fight ice. In Harrenhal Chapel, Melisandre burned, heart-shaped log effigy. Flames writhed into image of crowned figure wielding sword. Half black, half white. Azor Ahai, she breathed. Stannis stared but looked toward doorway where Ned entered soaked in blood and soot. Their eyes locked, sword half black, half white seen between them. Stannis spoke. Day breaks or breaks us. Ned nodded. We forge before freeze. He unsheathed Valyrian steel ice, reforged into 2 blades after Joffrey's folly originally. Now whole again by storms smiths melding dragonglass seam along fuller. He laid it on altar. Light and dark, he murmured. Melisandre's ruby pulsed. Torches guttered. Sword gleamed red and blue. Beyond cracked walls, Comet's tail began to fade. Stars blinked sharper. Winter still coughed its first breath. But armies, dragons, and shadows converged upon field of fate. And Bran, turning from window where aurora flickered, whispered to summer, soon. The direwolf's low howl drifted across snows, carried south by night wind to Harrenhal, to river mists, to seas under which drowned gods muttered, to deserts where dragons tested wings. It wound around the Iron Throne left cold and empty inside Red Keep and curled beyond to icy crown of world. When it finally faded, silence tasted of both ash and frost, a mingled promise that nothing, not kings, nor castles, nor old magics, would emerge untouched by the dawn rushing toward them.